What's up, everybody? Welcome to Spoilerkings. I'm Brian the Grizzly here with Brandman Brandon. What's up, bro?
Not too much. It's chaos down here with Lollapalooza going on.
Oh my god! If you guys don't know what
Can't come up.
Lollapalooza is, look it up.
Yeah, and I can see all the craziness like right out of my window. I think this weekend I'm gonna go out to the south suburbs and just wait until this all blows over.
Well, give everyone like a rundown of what Lollapalooza really is.
It is a Chicago-based music festival. It usually spans usually 3-4 days usually. So, and it is multitude of bands, a lot of headline, like popular bands, a lot of pretty good headliners. Usually, ever since I moved down here, I don't have to buy tickets because I am living down here. So technically, I am an attendee because I can look out the window and see everything and hear everything. So yeah, but yeah, this year usually I'm all for it, and I sit on the windowsill and watch the entire thing. But this year I'm just not in the mood. So yeah, gonna head out to the south suburbs tomorrow and just wait for it to be over and come back probably sometime Sunday night.
Dude, I've become a suburbanite. You know, I realized I'm in the house by like 9:30, 10 o'clock. You know, I'm either doing this thing or I'm in bed. I'm an old suburbanite now. And I know like the stuff I used to do in the city and hang out, I don't do it no more, man. I can't hang no more. I can't. It's the oldness. It's creeping up on me.
Oh man, I probably will go to Riot Fest this year though, which is for the uninitiated is similar to Lala, but personally I think there's a lot.
It's a little
older. Yeah, a lot better bands.
A lot of them have a lot of drunken kids all over the place.
Yeah,
sleeping in mud.
Yeah.
But that's just.
But yeah, I will. I probably will go to Riot Fest. So yeah, probably gonna get my tickets for that this weekend.
That's what's up. That's awesome. We got B in here. What's up, Brandon? Yeah, I'm here.
What's going on, Brandon?
Why was Thor crying?
The world may never know.
And we have our first fan, Derpy, the one who comes in and supports all the shows. Brandon does too, but Derpy always comes in and heckles me a little bit. So Brandon comes to support and says, hey, Derpy comes and says, 1-800, was it called Ryan Poles or Fleece Fried Ryan Poles? Thanks, Derpy. It says, Cobra Kai never dies. I can't wait to talk about the show. It was very emotional. You know, pull out my emotions for it. But so did the House of the Dragon in the penultimate episode, and so did Supacell. Because I mean, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just an emotional person. I don't know. We'll see.
No, man, I get it.
Says Lollapalooza on time already. I haven't watched the news in a while, so I had no idea. That's because you'll see all the people drunk. That's what you don't know.
Well, I'm not imagining everything going on outside my window right now, Brandon. So
we got Mama Bear here, so we could go ahead and start. Because I was waiting till then, and we didn't do nothing. Then we got Drew. Hey everybody, what's up? Always a pleasure, Drew. Always jumping in, checking out all your content. So I always appreciate when you get a chance to drop by. So what's up? And then we got Cleese. What's up, fellas? What's up, Cleese, man?
Cleese, what's going on?
All right. So we got a fun-filled show with you guys today. As I said, we're going to talk Cobra Kai because part 1 of season 6 is out. Hopefully you've seen those 5 episodes. And you can kind of talk about with us, what you think about them. Was it cool to start a season with no real villain? Was it cool seeing, almost everyone happy, and then how they flipped it on his head by the end of the part 1? Did you enjoy it? Are you pissed that it's not coming back out to November? I want to hear what everyone thinks about those things. So
it does seem pretty far away, doesn't it?
November? Oh, whatever. And then, of course, and we'll talk about Supercell because I think this was one of the shows that just came out of nowhere for me and surprised me. And I want to talk
Hmm.
about the show, but I also want to talk about the genius of creating this show and how important it is to be able to create a show that you want to create. And my question is, why haven't we been able to do the same thing overseas here? Why can't we do
Hmm.
the same thing? We have a lot of money around. Why can't we do the same type of stuff? So, I can't wait to have that conversation with you guys. We're gonna check out, see if we got some movie trailers, and I really want to talk about House of the Dragon. I want to talk about we kind of released our video about the penultimate episode from last week, but this is the season finale, and there's a lot of ish about to go down. So I kind of want to just kind of sprinkle some of that in there. Actually, let's
Hmm.
start with House of the Dragon. Why not? As we walk, waiting for everyone to get in. Um, so we kind of talked about it, but I want you to tell everybody else what was your initial opinion on this last penultimate episode.
I think it was the most dragon centric episode of the series. You know, from the way it started. You know, two dragons like facing off on the shoreline, which was probably my favorite thing about it. Um, I liked the scene with I really liked the character moments as well, but you know, like the dragon scenes really stood out for me. Like the Vermithor scene, I thought was super dope. Me, if I were in that situation in a cavern where I basically had to dragon whisper and see if and see if the dragon like kind of followed suit or kind of bowed to me, I would be pissing my pants and shitting them. So me, I was sitting there a little intimidated. Um, I liked I liked the scene with Oscar basically taking control. I thought that was really really cool. He kind of even punked Damon a little bit. Damon even looked intimidated, which I thought was cool.
Anzo.
Anzo, what's up? Uh, so I kind of liked that kind of character shift for him. I like kind of where you know he's kind of encountering someone a little you know, figuratively speaking, bigger and badder than him. Kind of met his match. Uh, the ending shot, the way that it was, the way that it looked, the way that it was framed, the way that the dragons were positioned behind, but behind her were just. I was like, oh, the stuff they did with Adam, um, I thought was great.
You know I love that part. Yeah, Adam. Oh my
Hmm.
gosh.
Didn't expect that either, but yeah, I just liked where they went, especially in the case of the dragons. It was the most dragony episode.
I mean, that's the best. I think that was the best comment right there. It's the most dragony episode. This is what we got. I love what they did with all the different characters. I thought it focused on everyone the right the right amount of time. And Rhaenyra
Hmm.
finally looks like she's ready for battle. She's
Yeah.
finally ready to start this war that's already started. Because all the other times, they see her, like coming late to meetings. Everyone's not listening to her. Damon's flying off on his own. She feels like she's alone. She lost her niece. All these things are happening. She sent her kids away. All that is happening to her. But this time,
Hmm.
she made a good decision. What we think is a good decision right now. To now she's able to have enough dragons to actually fight this war. And
Hmm.
I thought that was just so well done, and it was powerful. It was powerful looking. Even Viserys and talking to Daemon, that was powerful. Understand, like so you want this crown. You
Hmm.
know, it's just ruined everything about my life, ruined my family. Didn't want it, and that's you want it so much. That's the problem. That's why you'll never reach it. And if you want it, you can take it and have your life ruined instead of mine. Give me my life back. Take it. I thought that was really cool too. You know, everything we've seen with Corliss and his kids that his quote unquote bastard kids that he doesn't want to accept. I thought that was just unbelievable. So Alan is one thing and Adam is the other. Like seeing both of them on both sides was very cool. I'm loving what they are doing. And
Yep.
I wish other shows will watch how you do a penultimate episode and how they start to wrap something up, so you can have a great last episode. That's the way you're supposed to do things. You know,
Hmm.
you don't leave too many strings for you to try to tie up at the end. No, you say, okay, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to focus on this one thing. We're going to start coming together, and then that way we can finally pay it off. They did it the right way, and I really like that.
Yeah. Hmm.
So,
Me too.
yeah. So books, girls, and purrs. Love that scene between Lil Tully and Damon. Dude, it was just so powerful. He was like, "Well, yeah, I'm going to listen to my grandfather. This is what he did. He pledged to Viserys and obviously to Rhaenyra, who he wants, to succeed him as his heir.
Hmm.
But I'm not a punk. And Damon, this dude did wrong. I don't care who's following you. You better kill him, or we're all walking away in front of everybody. That's so cold. And to have the balls to do it, man. Yeah, I really did enjoy that a lot. What do you think we're going to get in this season finale, though?
Hopefully a lot of dragon versus dragon.
It's a lot of death.
I know. I'm yeah. I'm thinking it's gonna be pretty action and dragon heavy. I'm expecting obviously like a lot of the character moments and kind of interaction, but obviously it's going to be like a culmination. I'm just asking myself if it's going to be self-contained, if there's going to be like some conclusion in some way, shape, or form, or if it's going to or if it's going to kind of lay groundwork for a third season, or if it's just going to focus on the now. There's always a lot of pressure with season finales to basically be like, don't worry, we'll be back. But
you almost
hopefully
want
they
to do both. You almost want to do both. You want to start to wrap something up and then open up another can as you're doing it.
Yep.
Mama Bear is hilarious with this, and probably some dragon on dragon action. Take that how you want. I'm sure that's exactly what he meant. That's exactly how he meant to say
it. You're so pervy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I expect a couple people to die. Honestly,
yeah, there's going to be a body count for sure.
But like some main characters that we're someone who's supposed to be an heir, I'm expecting death, and that's why I'm excited to see who it is and how it shapes the end of the season going into season 3. Because I believe we get some really good, things that are happening. What if something happens and we get what's the original king, Aemon?
Yep.
So what if Aemon finds a way to get strong enough to do something, to actually be king again, and Aemon doesn't like it? What if Daemon gets slashed, and Aemon hurts Daemon, and he realizes he bleeds. I don't just have to look up to you. You're a man. So, I don't have to worry about those things. I said Aemon. Aegon. So what if Aegon comes back and decides he wants to be king again? So, I mean, what if, Larys comes in, becomes the hand, to Aegon coming back? What if, I would love to see Sir Christian Cole get killed. That would be awesome. I would love to see a dragon eat him in front of Alicent. That would make me feel happy. So, I mean, any of these things can happen when you have a show that has developed the story, it developed all these characters well, and you feel
Yeah,
like every loss will actually be a loss that you have to live with. So no,
sure.
I,
Mhm.
I'm expecting some cool things. I'm expecting some greatness. And I think they're going to do a good job wrapping up this season while still keeping your interest for the next. What do you think the Rotten Tomatoes has House of the Dragon at right now?
Without sneakily opening it, 87,
That's not bad.
maybe max 91.
They have an 89. Where do you think the audience is at?
The audience is a tough crowd with any show. 78, knowing audiences.
84.
84.
So they're
Huh.
getting a lot of people still watching this stuff. It's still a big draw on a Sunday night.
Hmm.
You know, I literally watch Snowpiercer and House of the Dragon every Sunday. So I
Hmm.
found Snowpiercer. By the way, it's on AMC Plus. So you want to ever check that out? The last season on AMC Plus. So but I watch that in House of the Dragon every Sunday without fail.
I still have not watched Snowpiercer. Isn't Sean Bean on it? Is he still on it?
You have to see it. I'm not going to tell you, but yeah, he's definitely
Is
was
he
definitely on it.
is he dead yet?
No. Yes, he is. He's dead. Well, maybe. Maybe he's dead. That's all I'm gonna say. Maybe. Because no one
So
on
he is dead.
Snowpiercer, no one on Snowpiercer ever dies long. Or you think they're dead, and then next thing you know they're back. So
Unless your name is Sean Bean. That's that has nothing to do with your character. That is a career choice of his. That he always dies violently.
Mama Bear said, I'm innocent. I don't know what you're talking about.
Hmm.
That's awesome. So now, I can't wait to actually see the whole thing of Snowpiercer because I'm going to definitely do a review of it. If you want to come in and talk about it, but you have to catch up. This is this final season. This is the last one we're going to get. So I'm happy that AMC Plus picked it up. I'm happy that they are doing good shows, good
Hmm.
writing. So that's
I'm
that.
looking at the actors on it. I forgot Jennifer Connelly is on it.
Jennifer Connelly is it? Yeah.
Okay, I have to watch it.
So Sean Bean can die in the show he's not in. So Sean Bean
Mhm.
has died or thought to be dead multiple times in these seasons, and we are now season 4, and they having flashbacks of maybe he's still alive. So I don't know how
Mhm.
he's still alive, but I don't know. I don't. But David Diggs is definitely the main guy. Jennifer Connelly we're going to see, so that's going to be some cool stuff. And yes, our new Supergirl is in it.
She's on Snowpiercer.
She was.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
think, yeah. So, but all those things, very cool.
Hmm.
All right. Oh, that's really our thing. I just wanted to kind of get on that stuff for House of the Dragon, get our first 20 minutes in, and now we kind of could talk about what you want, Cobra Kai or Supercell.
Let's do Supercell first.
All right. All right. Let me get it going. And welcome back to Spoiler Kings. I'm Brian the Grizzly here with Brand Man Brandon. How you feeling?
I'm fine. It's very loud outdoors.
It's very loud because it said we have a Lollapalooza going on, but we are here, guys, to talk about a show that came on Netflix that to really no acclaim, and then all of a sudden kind of blew us out the water. I think it debuted June 27th of this past of 2024.
Mhm.
Is Supercell. There's only one season. basically the whole basis is in South London. There's a group of normal people suddenly develop these superpowers, and it's only apparent connection between any of them that they're all black.
Mhm.
You know, some are Nigerian based, some are or English based, but they're all black. And also, their parents have the sickle cell, gene. So they either
Mhm.
were a trait or carrier or what something like that. And the next generation end up having powers. So that's kind of the only connection they see. And now we have one man who's trying to bring them together. That's what we got right now. So, what are your first thoughts on Supercell?
It was another one that I wasn't paying too much attention to, so it was another very much under the radar show for me. Uh, I think what gave me the push to watch it was word of mouth. Um, Everybody that I talked to was saying it was awesome. Uh, so I decided to see for myself and really, really enjoyed it. I really liked the character dynamics. I liked how different the characters were. It was very much like a motley crew of characters. Uh, and I thought they all individually they worked very well. And then when they came together, they worked just as good. I thought there was a nice little even balance in terms of like character arcs, that sort of thing. Which, when you're doing something like this, you're either going to really, really stick the landing, um, or you're just going to drop the ball, like the X Men movies. But, you know, uh,
Brian Singer, don't blame him.
no,
Don't
no,
blame him.
no. But and I like the idea of it. Something as typical and everyday as sickle cell or leading to superpowers. I think it's one of the more fantastical concepts out there. And but yeah, I really liked. I think the characters and their dynamic and is where it really shined for me. Like, I don't know if you ever watched that English kind of sci-fi almost superhero show from years back called Misfits, but it
Mhm.
kind of reminded me of, yeah, in some aspects it kind of reminded me of that. But
I, I
and
agree.
and yeah, I'd definitely be all in for a second season.
Oh, it's definitely needs to happen. I think it's the only show I've seen have 100% on Rotten Tomato that I did not know was coming. Um,
Hmm.
I what I felt about Supercell, I enjoyed the way first. If I'm gonna talk about just the show, not this impact, but just the way that they kind of shaped each episode. So the first one is called Michael, so it's focusing on delivery driver named Michael, right? The second one is Taser, who's a young guy, kind of in a gang, but like kind of on the hood, a little bit more of a hood dude trying to figure out his way in life.
Yep.
Sabrina, you have a young person that's doing a lot of good things, in her life. You see Andre, you know, Andre is I don't know, call him a bad drug person, like like he's a pharmaceutical rep, I guess.
Hmm.
And then we got Rodney. So I mean, they gave an episode to each one of these characters, and what they do is they don't just focus on the character; they like weave each character with the other character they just introduced the first time. So like it goes Michael and Taser, Michael Taser Sabrina, Michael Taser Sabrina Andre, Michael Taser Sabrina Andre Rodney, like and how they all kind of come together in the last episode is called Supercell to explain what the supercell is. So I thought that was just a smart way to doing it, and it kept me engaged. So a lot of these shows do do these characters without really fleshing them out,
Hmm.
and you knew that they weren't going to do it because this whole episode was about fleshing this character out,
Yep.
and then you don't
Like an
not see
introductory.
that. But you don't not see them. You still see that character in the next episode, along with this new character that's fleshing it out. So I thought it was
Yep.
just done very well. Yeah.
Same.
Mm.
And that's a tightrope to walk. because when you're doing kind of character moments like that, you're either really going to hook your audience, or you can lose them early on. But I thought they were done compelling enough, because like a character like Michael, I thought was very relatable.
Yep.
You know, and then we had characters who may not have been as relatable, but I think like with certain characters, like Michael, or Andre, or even to an extent the character of Taser, I think at some point in time, in some capacity, a lot of people have been there. So I think that's where they really that's what they really did well.
Agreed. I enjoyed seeing how they're going to go with all this stuff. And I think something that really caught me is that, as I said, they're all black people, right? But they're not all the same people. Okay, so, and it shows as a black person that you and I, though we love like the same things, we're different. I'm different than even from you, right? And we're
Sure.
closer than someone else. It could be. It's a rainbow of people. So not all the people are all alike, and it shows how black people could be many different things, many different personalities. Not just one specific thing. So I always love when you see a different group, in that light, and understand that they're multifaceted. They are not multicultural. It's the same culture, but multifaceted within that culture. And I think that's just a powerful thing to see. I think that's one of the things you saw with Black Panther that was so good. So there's different characters within this same monolithic group of people. You still have different characters within the one. So I think that this show did a very good job of showing those different people and how they have different goals and different values and all those things, yet they still are black people, and they still could all be good people. I mean, and even with the whole idea of Taser wasn't a bad person. He just was a complicated person, because people have tragedy that happens in their lives.
Yep.
And then you have to make decisions based on those tragedies, how you're going to live. So
exactly. Yeah.
I thought that was very powerful, and I enjoyed seeing it. Is there anything that you did not like seeing in this?
I think that there were parts that did kind of drag at times. Like kind of there were aspects of certain episodes that did kind of seem like filler, and were kind of added or done out of necessity. I did think the character of Michael at times was a little too whiny here and there. I think there was that. I think there were some kind of parts where it dragged from time to time for me.
Okay. I don't think there's anything I didn't like, but I don't like the idea of, well, I would say I did like the fact that that even the bad people were still just like them. So once again, black people are the good group and black people are the bad group. It gave me a very much X-Men vibe. I didn't like the fact that the idea that there was these white people that are behind it, trying to be being the overall bad people. I didn't think that was needed, but I understood. Sometimes I would rather it being both good and bad based on just where you went, or or where you come from, or what group you see your side on, which is very X-Men, but not necessarily seeing that as these white people that represent the government being the overarching bad people. Not because black people or white people are good and bad or anything like that. I just think that the characters would have been stronger if you just were able to stand on their own 2 feet.
I get that, and I definitely agree now that you mention it.
Yeah, it's not
Mhm.
necessarily like, and not a slight against anything. It's just I would have rather seen that for these characters, but I still think this is an excellent show. I think that they did an excellent job, and I love seeing, you know, names like Adebayo, you know, Ojo, you know,
Mhm.
Tadiku, you know, and then also seeing some last name with Mills and Brown, you know, like seeing multiple different type of people that are all very ethnic in their names. I don't know. It just
Yeah.
it warms my mouth. My mouth, my heart. Where's my mouth?
Mhm.
My heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all right. I have one other thing I just noticed about this show for me.
Mhm.
So this show was it's a program created by Ratman. Ratman, obviously he's a rap guy from Great Britain. Uh, kind of made the show, produced the show, helped direct the show. It was really like a Ratman production. If you
Yeah.
say so, he's a creator, he's a producer, he's a director, he's all those type of things. Um, and I think that's fire that someone would take a deal with Netflix and say, and pay me on the back end. Don't worry about paying me up front. This show, I believe, stands on its own. Pay me on the back
Mhm.
end. I thought that's cool, right? My question is, why can't we ever do that here? Why do I when I always have to say something about a show that's coming out, that has black people in it, that are these great either voiceover actors or anything like that, it's gotta be, what was that the TV show Good Times. Like the Good Times, that the remake that was awful. Why did we have people with money? Why can't we create a show like this too? Not that I want to take anything away from what they're doing, because I thought that is awesome. Because when you think about London, you don't realize London, South London has black people all around. That it's very
Mhm.
African based, which is great. I just feel like it'd be nice to see something like this in America. And not
Me
just
too.
not just United States. I'm talking about North America. So I mean, Canada. You know, as we have friends that do these streams all over the place, doing stuff. So
Mhm.
why can't we see stuff like that here?
I'm trying to decide how to word that.
I mean, it's a tough
Um,
question because we have
yeah,
money. There's opportunities. We have Tyler Perry. You know, why can't we get something like that here?
because unfortunately, folks like Seth MacFarlane think a crack dealing baby is funnier.
But then you can't blame him, right? Because you could do it for yourself. That's why I keep on saying about Ratman. He did it for himself. He knew he
Mhm.
wanted something, and he said, "I'm going to go do it for me." And that I give real big respect to that, and I wonder why we can't do the same type of thing. And I hope that even me saying that challenges someone to say, "Yeah, we could do this," because we have beautifully creative people. I see it with all the YouTube shows. I see it with all the creative skits we see all the time. Why can't we do something like that that can really surprise and bring up a community and bring light
I
to
agree.
how many people are there?
Yeah, there's so much more to black culture than merely trauma or these nasty, old, outdated stereotypes. But
You know, it,
fortunately, I think that's
but then
what it's all
even the
built on.
idea of taking sickle cell, which is known that to affect black people way more commonly than any other group of people, and showing that as a beginning of a superpower.
Mhm.
I think that's powerful in itself too. So taking this negative and turning it into such a positive. And I wish that we could see more things like that. I think this show is great. I think does a great thing, and I hope it plants a seed in somebody that
Hmm.
I could do this too. I could bring something like this out there, and superheroes aren't just one culture, one color, or one way of doing things. They could be me and you, and let's show
Yep.
what me and you means. So, yeah. Let's see what you guys saying in chat are saying about this. I saw T just jumped in here. So, what's up, T? Said Supercell was awesome. I think it was incredible. I agree with you.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Said he loved the Misfits. Misfits. Says
Misfits
underrated.
was awesome.
Yeah.
I really
I
liked Misfits.
I appreciate it, Mama Bear. I just, I think that these things could be really, really good. I respect and love that we get in this type of content. I just wish that we could see even more and get people to get behind it and take a deal to get paid on the back end if you really think that you could do a really good job. You don't need
Yep.
to get all your money up front. Um, but I was talking about Supercell. I said on the tomato meter is 100%. So all the critics that have watched it, 100% of them like it. That's crazy in itself.
Yeah. It was cool to see that they were all for it.
As far as the audience goes, it's 73% from the audience, which I think is still good, especially for Netflix.
Hmm.
You know, yeah, man. I mean, I think I was very happy to see it. I thought that even the way they showed the powers, and you saw in the eyes. So instead of having the yellow, I blackening, a whitening of the white spark, you see yellowing. Instead of
Yellow.
that, you see the highlight of their eyes, and that really shows that they've are interacting with this power, and this power is becoming stronger, and they're actually using their power and they're learning how to control it. I thought that was just a very smart way of doing things without having to put such a huge budget on it.
Hmm.
So, and then seeing the impact of these powers on their daily lives. Michael is about to get married. He had
Hmm.
his girl. Dion. What are you gonna do with Dion? He sees his girl dying in the future. He's trying to stop it at all cost.
Hmm.
And he does not. Or does he? We won't know until season 2.
Yeah. I'm waiting for an announcement. Yeah, because I haven't heard any announcement about season 2.
Well, it better be a season 2, and not just. I don't just want a season 2. I want it to come out quickly.
Hmm.
I'm hoping that me is talking to us about this. Hope you understand how important it is to come watch it and just give it a chance. If you give it a chance, you're really gonna enjoy it.
Yeah.
This Ratman in an interview with UNILAD revealed that there's a plan for 3 seasons. Per
Hmm.
Screen Rant report, Ratman said it will depend on Netflix whether there will be multiple seasons for Supercell or not. Supercell's cast includes, Nadine Mills, Eric Kofi, Calvin Demba, Colson Cole, and Eddie Marson. So it still has not yet been greenlit.
Yep. I'm waiting hand and foot. You don't end a show like that, unless you have like at least several seasons mapped out in your mind, or like the basic framework.
I mean, everyone says good things, And here's the one quote that I thought was good. I want people to really know. It says, from the beginning of the show, I always tell everyone that season 1 of Supercell to me is like Batman Begins. It's just the beginning. You've got to see where it goes next to see who the people really are. So
No,
if you,
I never thought
you,
about
ne-
that. That's what.
you never get to
Mhm.
Dark Knight if you don't give Batman Begins. And if it's that good, give us Dark Knight. What if
Mhm.
Supercell this season 1 is Batman Begins, which is one of your favorite ones, and then we get Dark Knight in season 2, which is by all accounts, except Anzo, one of the great superhero movies ever. So,
Mhm.
what if that's what it is? I'm hoping. I'm out
Yeah.
here. I want to put the sound out. I want to put the word out there. I want everyone to talk about it. I want people to be free to talk about it. Even say the things that you don't like about it. You know, let's keep the word out there. Let's keep the momentum out there, so Netflix can't just sweep it under the rug and forget all about it like it did with the Get Down. Let's
Yeah,
talk
I'm
about
still.
these things.
Yeah, yeah. I'm still mad at them about the Get Down.
All right, but that's what we think about Supercell. So I want to hear what you guys think about it. Um, do you think this is a good show? Do you think that you were surprised at how much you felt for the characters, how well they kind of developed these characters? Do you not like the show? Do you think they did do a good job doing something? I want to hear all the opinions. Just like we just saw with the House of the Dragon video we had, and with the stat video. I love reading all the comments. You guys have great points and bring out great points. So please, if you got a chance, checking out a video, like, subscribe, and put a comment down there so we can understand what your point of view is, and we could talk about it. Got anything else, B?
I think that covers it on my end.
All right, guys. If you're watching this later, this is the end of this video. If you're still with us on the live show, we're gonna talk about our next comments, our next thing right now. So thanks for keeping up and staying with us, and we'll see you on the next video for everybody else.
See you guys.
Peace. Cool.
Nice.
All right, so got Supercell out the way, and now we can talk about Cobra Kai, because woo, that was a very good part one to a season. I enjoyed it. What was your I'm not gonna ask that. I'll wait till the show starts. Till this starts. You writing down all the times?
I am writing down all the times.
Cool. All right. Mama Bear said, sounds like Anakin. So yeah, I can see that. It's interesting though, because you don't know if these people that we've been introduced to. One thing I did like about the show was that we don't know if they're good or bad people yet. We still don't know if all the good ones that we think are good are the good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Because was it Andre who actually ended up being went to the bad group because he got caught and he's doing it for his son. So we don't know who they are. So seeing the development of each character is going to be really cool and really interesting overall for me.
I agree.
Now I will say this: all the women were beautiful in their different way.
Oh man,
they were gorgeous.
Yeah, the two sisters, like, ugh.
I realized that just women are awesome, and I like all women. I'm not a hater on any of them. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Shade does not matter. Size does not matter. Hey, women are beautiful, so I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's get on to Cobra Kai. Ready?
I'm ready. Sorry.
And welcome back to the Spoiler Kings. I'm Brian the Grizzly here with Brandman Brandon. We're going to talk about Cobra Kai season 6. Wow. Can't believe we got 6 seasons of this Cobra Kai now, right?
Same. That was going to be something that I was gonna say as well. 6 seasons, which is just insane at this point in time, and it still works just as good.
Are you glad it's going to stop at the end of the sixth season? Are you happy?
I do, because I really like this show, and I think it's important to know when to stop, know when to pump the brakes. rather than, just keep going and going. Because it's good to know when when to have a definite beginning, middle, and end of a
Mhm.
show. Um, you know, I don't want it to be another Walking Dead or Grey's situation where I'm just like,
Or The
it,
Flash on CW, like we
mm,
get season 9 and we're like, yeah, this is it. Can we stop?
yeah, yeah. So if they think this is a good point to stop, I think I respect it. You know, know when to call it quits. You know,
All right. So in this season, what are your feelings?
first and foremost, just to reiterate, holy crap. I never in a million years thought this show would work as well as it does. Um, Originally, I was one of the folks that when I first heard about this show, I was like, this sounds like it's going to be stupid. I won't even lie. When I first heard about it, I'm like this sounds like it'll be dumb. And then I saw the trailer for it, and I'm like, seriously? But then I sat down and watched it and was kind of hooked. Um, Actually, grabbed pretty much from the start. I really like uh, the fact that this show it's an easy like swift watch. I think
Mhm.
the 30 minute episode formula is good because each episode it never wears out its welcome. And furthermore, I like what they do with the characters of not just Daniel and Johnny, but um, all the characters as a whole. They really
I mean,
run
we
with a
go
lot
from yeah, Martin, Cove, Crease,
of
you got Zolo, you got Jacob as Hawk, you got Mary
the.
Mooser as Sam. I mean, just Tanner Buchanan, Robbie. Like you have just so many. Robbie, who must be like 50 years old. Robbie gotta be 50 years old. I'm just saying. You can see him shaving, but like, dude, you got like 3 kids in the house, don't you? You know that. You know? But they have
um,
new kids though. So I like Chosen coming back. I love Dallas Dupree as Kenny. They're doing a good job with
mhm.
this stuff.
Yep, and I like that they go into the gray area with these characters, and they really one thing that I really like that they run with from the original Karate Kid is the theme of there isn't necessarily a such thing as bad students, but more bad teachers.
Mhm.
So they really I like how they run with that. And honestly, man, I also like the way that this is filmed. It's almost like filmed in like a hokey kind of like soap opera way, but it as far as the narrative goes, it works. And again, I think my favorite thing is they show the gray area that sometimes there's a little more to it than just good and bad, even though I think Kreese is still a bastard, no matter what his past is. But
Yeah, but he
uh,
loved Johnny. Like Johnny was his
he,
thing.
he did, but he's still a bastard.
Definitely that. I will agree
uh,
100% with that.
but I like how it kind of like veers off into elements that you don't quite expect. Or sometimes you're hoping, oh, this person will come into the light. They'll stick with Eagle Fang and or Cobra Kai or whatever, or they're gonna you know join the protagonist. Oh, not necessarily. Uh, so I like that constant like teeter totter. It's an element that really keeps you invested, and I like that like I said, they really respect what came before it. It really seems like a true and organic continuation of the original. And like I said, I'm just in amazement whenever I watch it because I never in a million years thought this show would work as well as it ended up.
Okay. Okay. Is there an episode this season that you really found like engaging for you?
Uh, the training episode when they brought back Barnes. I thought that added,
No, I
you know,
agree. Yeah.
what's it added a layer. I liked that he joined in on the training. It, like I said, it added another layer, and it kept things interesting because usually it's just, Johnny and Daniel, and
No,
it was kind of it added like a nice little it felt like a nice little add on and a
I feel like
necessary add on.
you're 100% right, but what you said at the beginning was it's really adults, and being bad teachers sometimes create bad students. Not necessarily like they're good or bad kids. Any of these kids could both go good or bad, and it all
Mhm.
depends on the teacher and their actual goals and their morals and what they're teaching these kids. Because a lot of these kids are blank slates,
Yeah,
and
impressionable.
impressionable, exactly. And they're looking for you when they call you sensei. You have an obligation, and I think that's what shows more than anything. This obligation to be a good person when you have someone else's life in your hands like that.
Yep.
Um, for me, this season's been a lot of fun. I
Hmm.
I've seen these characters for so many years, and it don't matter if it's Zolo or any of them. I really enjoy seeing them grow and how their characters develop. Um,
Hmm.
I found myself it was weird. So the beginning of the season, there was no antagonist, right? It was just them
Right.
learning how to get together and learning how to go into this tournament and stay together and learning how to respect each other's wishes and actually become friends and understand who they are. And that's kind of what we got. And honestly, I found that very boring. You know, I was like, oh, okay, this is all just everything's going well. Um, and then Crease gets out, so
Hmm.
there's turn. So you know something's gonna happen, and you start to see his backstory. So that was cool, and the development of the empire that he's going to start creating out in Japan.
Hmm.
I thought that was cool, and with his old teacher. Um, then you start seeing you know kinks in the armor, between all the characters, and I thought that was cool. I enjoyed. I mean, Johnny and Daniel are always good, and then seeing Chosen in there, really good. Those are good, really good dynamic between them. But I think my favorite episode is the one with Johnny and Chosen going to like property brothers or going around going to houses and seeing them interact and how Johnny is still Johnny, right?
Yep.
And no matter what, he's going to be himself, and he is trying to accept Miyagi Do as
Hmm.
as their teachings and stuff like that. You can see him really trying as an adult, trying to be a grown up and
Yeah.
failing terribly at it.
Hmm.
I
It kind of gives you a little insight into what may have happened when Robbie was little, or when Robbie was about to be born. You know, so it kind of, you kind of connect the you're kind of connecting the dots from a mental standpoint there, or just kind of kind of imagining for yourself what may have happened,
hmm
which I like.
well, I definitely agree with that.
Mhm.
I mean, Johnny having to both balance both Robbie
Mhm.
and Miguel in the same house with his new baby mama who's about to have a girl. That's just a
Mhm.
cool dynamic thing to kind of see him try to navigate, which is like
Mhm.
impossible for any human being to navigate.
Yep. And
uh,
I appreciate this show because, as like, when you're watching the original Karate Kid when you're little, you're never in a million, never would I have thought I'm like, oh, I'm gonna grow up to like Johnny one day. you
Sweet,
know,
sweep it.
mm, or I'm gonna come to like the members of Cobra Kai, or kind of actually feel bad when the get him a body bag kid actually ends up in a body bag.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Dude,
but mhm,
those are good parts. I mean, and good points. Um,
mhm.
I think
Yeah,
the most I saw that this last episode 5, really got to me. Because
mhm,
you see Tori really become a kid again.
yep,
She's back in school, back in high school, has a little boyfriend, has her activity. She's excelling. She's doing well. She's strong. She's a fighter. She's starting to really work things out. Um, it's it's everything you ever really wanted to see. And as soon as things go really well for her, that's when everything has to fall apart. And her and Sam finally become friends and all this stuff, and then you start seeing her mother, and and you
mhm,
see foreshadowing because you see her mother. Oh, we're doing so well. We're going to wean her off some of her meds, and then the other shoe's going to drop, and of course it drops right before she has to fight Sam for who's going to be captain of the team.
mhm,
Um, and seeing Robbie calling for her, but not judging why he's not able to get in contact with her. Still happy to see when she comes in, but you can see she's flustered and she's a mess. And it's like watching a train accident, in slow motion, because you can see it falling off the rails, but you can't look away. And I
yep,
felt that was kind of what we were watching in that entire episode.
mhm.
And I think first of all, the girl playing Tori, what's the Peyton List, did an
Pain
amazing
list, yeah,
did an amazing job with that. I thought that
sure did.
really showed different. I mean, that's hard to do, and then even you felt like you understood all the pain that she was going through as a teenager, and being now having a little brother, right, and now losing her mother. So, what happens? What happens with her life,
Mhm.
and then the fact that everyone leaves, and I feel like Daniel Larusso did the right thing, trying to stop the fight.
I
He's like,
agree.
this is not
Mhm,
the time to fight. Um, and you understand exactly why Tori walked away. She couldn't handle it emotionally. Could anyone handle that right then? You know,
exactly. So you hope, um, you hope she wouldn't go back, running back
decrease.
to crease. But when you're in that type of emotional state and you're that vulnerable, you know, it's
You
it's
look for
easy to get
anyone
kind
that
of preyed
wants you.
upon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Crease exploited that and preyed upon it.
And that's why I had a problem with Johnny this
Mhm,
episode 5, because I feel like as a guy who went through it,
mhm,
losing his mother and wanting to fight and all that stuff, but she's a girl. I mean, emotionally, that mother daughter bond is different. And then not having anyone in her life this entire time, not realizing all the stuff that she could be going through with the physical abuse, and seeing her mom doing all that stuff, and the drugs and all this, and how strong you have to be to do that. Sometimes you want to say, "Hey, not that we won't fight. We don't need to name a captain today. You embrace that person." And I
mhm.
think Daniel did a bad job of embracing it, but Johnny should have been the one who say, "No, I'm gonna put my arms around you. You're still part of this family. We'll do this later. Right now, we just know we need to be here for you and supporting you." That's what
Yep.
she needed to hear, and that's what drove her in the crease, because you didn't do that.
Yeah, she felt abandoned. You know.
She felt like she misunderstood that she would never
Mhm,
get a fair shake. That's exactly what Crease I put in her head, and no one cared about her.
mhm.
Fair or unfair, that's her perception. And I thought that was the one time that Johnny could have been the person saying, "Hey, I got you. we got you. We need to be there for you. Instead, they just went right to, okay, we're gonna bring someone else in. Don't worry about it. We're replacing you. That's not the right answer, right?
No.
As much as I
No.
think Hawk deserved to win and needs to be in there, you're just gonna replace her.
Mhm.
I thought that was pretty bogus.
Yeah, that was cold. So, you know, even though I think it sucks with Tori and how the way part one ended, I understood the why.
Hmm.
You know.
Her going away. I mean, I understand why she'll go away and want to go with Crease again, and you know, it just made sense.
Mhm.
I was not mad at her in any way, shape, or form, but once again, the teachers should have been better, and if they did, they would have had more students.
Mhm.
I don't know. That's that's what I saw for part one. What do you? Anything else that we missing about part one?
I think. Uh,
Well, the whole Miyagi thing. That could be a big thing.
oh, that I didn't. I definitely didn't see coming. But I'm kind of happy they went that. I'm kind of happy they went that route because again, the show explores the gray area with characters, and it kind of shows that Miyagi, hit, he had some red in his ledger too.
But
Uh,
does it really do that? Because the question is Miyagi was in the same tournament.
mhm,
And maybe it wasn't really theft, or maybe he was trying to get back something that they stole from him.
mhm. Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to wait it out to see. We're gonna have to wait it out to find out for sure.
Yep. I think
You know.
they're going to. Well, what do you think will happen in part two? Because there's three parts to this thing. Part
Yeah.
one, we just saw. Part two comes out in November. Part three will come out in 2025. So,
Mhm.
what do you think is going to happen in part two?
Um, part two. Definitely more insight into Miyagi. I think maybe Daniel will take a little bit more of the stage this particular season. I think that as far as the supporting characters go, I think we'll probably. I feel like in some way, shape, or form, Silver will re-enter the picture in
Okay.
some capacity,
Okay.
and I think definitely more with Tori. I think there's going to be some more character moments between her and Sam because I think their dynamic is very is very I kind of see parallels between those two and Miguel and Robbie. You know, so I think there will be more with that. I
What
don't
about
know if we're
what happens with Robbie and Tori? You
that's
think does he feel like he's totally like she just abandoned me and didn't say nothing to me and then went to the other side?
that's what I was about to get into next. Uh, Obviously, there's going to be some conflict with that, and I'm curious to see you know how Robbie's going to take it when he's going to talk to her, uh, what's going to be said, that sort of thing. So yeah, because that's kind of the foundation that the show's kind of built on. A lot of the character misunderstandings, the back and forths. Like I said, it does have a little bit of a soap opera esque vibe to it, but I mean that in the best way possible, because it works.
Yeah, it
You
does.
know.
Yeah, agreed.
Mhm.
Um, I think part two is going to be about relationships. Like, the whole show's been about relationships, but specifically, we're going to have we got Dimitri on one side, and we got Hawk. You know, how their relationship, how their relationship's going to work with him feeling
Mhm.
so hurt. With Hawk feeling. I mean, it's Dimitri that's hurt right now, right?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
Like, I feel like Hulk just left him hanging and all this stuff. How is that going to work?
Mhm. Yeah, I was going to ask you how you felt about that because there is like a little bit of a double-edged sword, I think, when it comes to some of the character misunderstandings and some of the back and forth. Did that, um, well, two-part question. Did that character dynamic and did the misunderstanding between Anthony and Kenny kind of feel tacked on or there just for the sake of being there for you, or was that just me?
So I thought that one was just stupid.
Hmm.
You know, if you're a true friend, you wouldn't hate on Hawk for not, doing it. He'll probably be a little disappointed that why didn't you just tell me, man? You could tell me anything. We're friends.
Hmm.
You could tell me anything. But to take it in like I'm gonna punch you because you leaving me was very weird.
Yep.
You know. So I thought that was just strange overall. As far as the Kenny one, I knew that they're gonna try to dump that, dump that on someone else. I knew that
Hmm.
that was I knew Anthony didn't do it. So I knew it was probably Devin who was going to do it. I saw that coming. Um, but yeah, I feel like it almost felt like what's the word? Systematic. Like it was like formulaic. Like it's formulaic. Like you knew you had to do this. This is the form that says you must do this. So this has to, by the end of it, Kenny has to feel like Anthony's the one who did this, and there's no need for all that to happen. And
Hmm.
you knew Devin was going to be the one who turns bad, or Dimitri and Hulk thing was just weird the way they handled it. Because you think if they're friends since kids, since they're little, 5 years old, then they
Hmm.
will have a stronger relationship. I mean, they
Exactly.
fought each other, and they're still
Hmm.
able to come back. So why wouldn't you have a strong relationship after that?
Yeah, and I think, like I said, it kind of felt like it was just there just for the sake of being there. I think there were Dimitri was being a little unreasonable. I think, especially in spite of um, you know much bigger things that have transpired between them over the course of this show. You know, even with them deciding to go to, even with Hawk deciding to go to a different school, we're talking about like, they're kids since the crib. They're the binary brothers, right? Um,
Exactly.
and their friendship has endured during this show much bigger things, or even worse things. So
So
I
why
think
would this fall
something,
apart here? That doesn't make any
yeah,
sense.
yeah, something is not to minimize how Dimitri's taking it, but something as trivial as going to different schools. That's I don't think that should make or destroy a friendship. Even if it's something that you have talked about for years, things sometimes things change.
And you
You
just
know.
gotta respect them. Don't you think
Hmm.
so?
Yeah.
What up, Tony? Hey,
What up, Tony?
I'm digging that haircut, right? I like that pick, man. I really like it. Come on, Brad, man. You got get your dreads back, man. Come on.
Yeah, I'm thinking about. Well, I think I'm starting to grow out the at least like the mini throwback.
Good. I was getting it done. I didn't realize how long my dreads were, so these are all braided now, so I could
Hmm.
have a little bit short of a hair.
Hmm.
As I digress. Man, I'm excited to see what actually comes up. From all these relationships, Miguel and Robbie seems unfinished, and as much as
Hmm.
they are going to be, at each other's throat, they got a little sister that they both share. Yeah.
Hmm.
Hold up, Brandon had locks.
You haven't been on here when we talked about this, Mama Bear. I thought you tune in all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah. He had some nice long hair, you know, when I
Mhm,
first met him. See, I'm trying to
mhm,
get like you, man. Whatever, man. Your stuff is looking nice already. You know, it's that quality. That's what it is, you know. And that's why I was talking about Supercell, where it's all different type of black people. That's great. He wants to know, Dale, you see the new pics from the set from Superman. That is our next topic, so we will do that. And then I do have a trailer that we're going to talk about. But let's go ahead and finish this up so I can cut this up easier.
mhm.
All right. So part one of Cobra Kai. I want to know, Brandon, where do you grade this? How are you going to grade this? So you know, here with Spoiler Kings, we grade our all of our things now, later, or never. Those are really the way we kind of put in each category. So, which category are you going to put this season, part one of Cobra Kai?
Well, I love Cobra Kai as a whole, so this is very much now. Even if you have not watched any Cobra Kai in the past, you could plow through all the previous seasons literally in probably about under a day. It's that quick a watch.
Yeah, that's true.
So and be up to speed for this one. I think you really don't even have to be a Karate Kid fan to enjoy and appreciate this show because they give you a pretty good prologue at the very beginning. They tell you everything that you need to know. But I like how episodic it is, and I definitely say watch it as a whole before you start number six if you haven't. Um, it, it's infinitely better than I ever imagined it would be. You know, I really appreciate that. You know, it doesn't completely bank on nostalgia. The nostalgia is there, obviously, but they do it in the right way. You know, in terms
Mhm.
of pushing the story forward. And it's pretty cool to see a career resurgence of all these guys who were like huge in the '80s and then kind of vanished
Fall
off the grid for a
away.
while.
Yeah.
Mhm. And you know, it kind of functions as a torch passing. I'm not necessarily saying, oh, you know, we need spin-offs with like Hawk and Robbie and Dimitri and Tori and all them, but you know, it is cool to see like more Karate Kids be, you know, kind of be um, birthed by Daniel and Johnny and company.
I
So yeah,
like it.
I could give this a no.
Okay. Um, I wasn't sure about what we were going to give a Cobra Kai when it first came out, and
Mhm,
every season, the more got into it, the more I enjoyed it. Um,
mhm,
There's something that I saw Tony ask, and he talked about, do I like the new model that Netflix is using by doing part
mhm,
one, part two, part three? Um, I don't mind it as long as I don't have these giant gaps in between. Giant
mhm,
gaps really kind of take the momentum for a show and slow it down. So, as much as I like this one, I'm almost going to give it a later and tell you watch it in October.
well, that's a good point.
You know, because I want you to watch it in October. Then you get right into November. You're watching part two, and then early 2025 you can finish it up. Because at least you get 10 episodes, and you can kind of digest that, and then you see maybe February that you finish it up. I think that's a
Mhm,
better way to actually have it because you have things in between. You have Christmas time and Thanksgiving time and all that other stuff, and then by the time you get over all that stuff and New Year's, you got Cobra Kai coming back again. So I feel
mhm,
like I'm only giving it later because as much as I like this part one, it's part one of three parts. So I would rather you kind of watch it later to enjoy it better. If that makes
mhm.
sense.
Yep.
Not my typical later, but it's a later nonetheless. So Um, but that's how we're grading it, guys. I want to know how you guys think about it. You know, do you enjoy this show, this part one of the show? Did you think that we need to run out and watch it right now? Do you think it needs to be later? Is it something that's missing? Do you not enjoy the way Netflix is doing these shows? Would you rather have a full season if you're gonna have a finale. I want to know what you guys think. Brandman wants to know what you guys are thinking because we read all your comments. So please, if you get a chance, comment on the video. Let us know what you're thinking about Cobra Kai season 6 part 1. Is it a now for you? Is it a later for you? Or is it a never? Come out to our shows. We're here Mondays and Thursdays at 9 Central. We're always talking about topics, and we love hearing from you guys. And we have all of our people in the chat that kind of shape the show. So if that you want to be one of those people, please come out, and we'll see you on the next video. So thanks, guys. All right.
Dude, I'm gonna run to the bathroom.
Go ahead. While you run to the bathroom, I'm going to pull. Go ahead. I'm gonna pull up a few things. First, I want to bring up what I was talking about with Tony because he asked a really good question. He said, "How do you feel about the new Netflix model of how they do their shows? I see some people loving it and hating it, and that's kind of what I was talking about, man. I really feel like 3 parts is too much. Part 1 and part 2 is already hard enough for me to get used to, but if you have a specific amount of time, I guess I could get through it. It's hard with Netflix as they're dropping all these shows, right all at the same time, and then we have to wait afterwards to see the next part. It's hard doing that. So now you give me all these 5 episodes, and then I have to wait 5 months to see a part 2, and then you want to make me do it again another 3 months to see the part 3. I don't know if I want my show spaced out that far apart, especially with these single episodes of half an hour shows. I'm not enjoying it, but I like the show. So maybe the content is good. I just would rather receive that content in a different way. 30 minutes is just not enough, in my opinion. I would rather have a full hour, or and of that a full hour, and then give me more episodes altogether. So
yeah,
and it's kind of
especially with such a quick watch as this. It almost feels like they're kind of buying into their own hype. With stretching it out. I don't think there's really any reason for this to be a 3-parter or even 2. They could have did it all at once like usual.
I just want to wait for the director's cut. That's season 1. That's what we're gonna get. In October, we're gonna get the director's cut of season 1, and then we get part 1, and then we get part 2. Let's do it like Snyder.
Yep.
I think that's an interesting thing. All right. I think before we do the Superman thing, because I think that could kind of come off the rails a little bit. I think because you and I are going to have differing opinions on the whole Superman thing. So I'm going to pull up this trailer real quick. A slingshot. So I'm going to pull up the slingshot up, and then we'll jump right into Superman right afterwards. And then we'll get out of here for everybody else. That is the plan, just so everyone knows. All right. So let me get this together, and yep, we'll do the intro. All right. All right, here we go. Hey, welcome to the spoilerkings. I'm Brian the Grizzly here with Brandman Brandon. What's up, B?
Not too much. First day of Lollapalooza is over, and it's finally quiet for the first time today.
Hey, we made it, and not anyone was getting shot. Not yet, at least. We are here. We're going to actually watch a quick trailer before we get into our Superman talk. I want to bring up Slingshot. This is the official trailer for it. Before we talk about it, let's watch the video, and you guys tell me what you think. Let me know if you can hear it.
I can hear it.
Hello, John. You are aboard the spacecraft Odyssey 1. So I don't know if you heard, but I'll be leaving town soon. 1.5 billion miles. No big deal.
We're awake. Good.
Is hibernation affecting you at all?
Gentlemen, we have been in space for nearly 2 years.
It's incredible.
We are on our way to Titan.
Titan.
It's the most Earth-like world we can reach, but to get there, we'll need Jupiter's gravity for a speed boost.
You have 2 more hibernation cycles before the slingshot.
Houston, we have a situation.
The impact represents no real danger.
What if the whole system is compromised?
If we attempt a slingshot, we get blasted into deep space.
The drugs used to induce hibernation can produce side effects.
You understand me now.
She's not here on the ship.
I know that. If sometimes
Including confusion and disorientation.
you see that
Whoa.
Your imagination is playing a cruel trick on you.
How do you know this? But I'm just
Everything around us is screaming, turn around! And you're about to blast us even further into space.
Warning, system overload.
Division!
I'm just a soul.
You're sending us all to die!
A gun in space.
Flying into the light is a survival instinct. The best escape route tends to be towards the light.
Oh Lord, please don't let me.
Be misunderstood.
So what did you think about Slingshot?
I'm inclined to think of this as what happened to Lawrence Fishburne in Event Horizon after the ship went through that wormhole
Ah,
at
I
the
see
end.
you.
You know, maybe this is the other dimension that he went into when he attempted to self-destruct the ship. Or no, I like kind of original ideas like this, and it kind of I like trailers that don't compress the entire movie or spell out what exactly is going on, and there is a sense of kind of mystique, and it keeps you guessing. So that's enough for me to probably watch this in the theater, because I want to see what happens next. We need that formula with trailers, more of it. Doesn't compress the entire thing, but just enough for you to be like, huh, I want to go see this because I want to see what it's all about, what happens next.
I think that these are great actors in this thing right now.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
Casey Affleck and Lawrence Fishburne, even the guy who plays Frenchie, seeing all that's really cool. Seeing all them together. And we recognize, especially after The Boys, we recognize all of them. And Casey Affleck is a great actor.
He's a great actor in his own right. Ben Affleck was the more recognizable actor for the longest, and Casey really came into his own. And he doesn't at all ride his brother's coattails to me. Like, he's really, he's carved out his own path, and he's great in his own right.
Good Will Hunting, so he kind of did, because he came in Good Will Hunting and then Call Him Baby.
Oh wait, I forgot he was in that. Obviously his brother directed Gone Baby Gone.
Yeah.
But yeah,
he's been good in everything he's been in, so I agree. I like Casey.
I consistently enjoy him. And Lawrence Fishburne, like him in everything I've seen him in. I've never seen a bad performance out of him.
The fear aspect of this movie, for me, because I love space. I love the idea of space, but like the things that I watch, like Star Trek, it's safe. it's pretty safe to be in space in Star Trek. You know,
Mhm.
the only problem is you're going off the ship in these other worlds. You know, it's
Mhm.
pretty safe in Star Wars. You know, it's the
Mhm.
actual places that are the problem, but being in space is not the problem. The idea that you're going to slingshot around Saturn to get to this new world, right, is scary because you're going to use the gravity and then you're going to go off into deep space and you can die. You
Yeah,
can die.
because if you look at it as a whole, the concept of going into space is pretty damn terrifying.
It is. And
You
I
know.
love that they're identifying that. And maybe I'm in the minority thinking this way, but on the coattail of what we would have Alien Romulus, this is an
Mhm.
interesting movie to kind of talk about the idea of space, not just the alien being in space, but just the space in itself is a scary concept,
Mhm.
and the human mind and how that is, you know, your your perception of reality is your reality.
Yep.
You know, and even with these drugs that they're putting in you, is that the real reality, or is it your perception of it? And is that good enough to change things? These are crazy questions to have. So I when I say I enjoy seeing things like this, I really do, and I think it's really giving me the idea that this is going to be another good movie for me. And the fact that it's coming out
Mhm.
8:30, and this is the only the third time I really heard about it. I'm excited.
Same.
Guys, I want to know what you guys think about the Slingshot. Will you give it a chance? Do you love movies with Lawrence Fishburne? Do you want to see Casey Affleck in more movies like this? What are your first thoughts, your initial thoughts of I've seen this trailer? Is this something that's going to be able to hold weight this year at the end of the summer, beginning of the Labor Day weekend? I want to know what you guys think. Brandman wants to know what you guys think. So jump in the comments. Let us know what you're thinking about these things. And hey guys, like the video, subscribe, come join us on Mondays and Thursdays because we will do all these nerd talk and we'll watch some trailers and have a good time. So
Mhm.
please join the people that we have in our comments because I have a few good ones that are coming in and we will explore them going forward. But for now, we're going to end this video here and we'll see you guys later. Not for you guys. We're staying with you. uh, oh, I thought that was actually interesting. This is
Same.
one of the things that
That's my
scared
first time
me.
seeing that show.
It's one of the things that scared me about space. It's space. Fucking big. Just
Mhm.
things go wrong. What do you do when you're that far away? You know, it's not like the
Mhm.
expanse where you've already colonized, you know, the belt, you know, the Kuiper belt or any
Yeah.
of that. Like, what do you do?
Yeah, we're talking about the vast nothing of space,
Yeah,
and there's a lot of vast nothing out there.
exactly. You know, well, hibernation fucks you up. What you gonna do then?
Mhm.
You know, so I completely missed the trailer. I'll check it out. Yeah, B, please do, please do. I mean, that really would scare me half to death. I don't know what I would do. Um, and I think as much as I love, you know, the idea of space, I don't know if I could actually watch it, you know, or be in that situation. I don't know.
Same.
You know, that's
Mhm.
terrifying. Right? Oh man. So I am trying to pull up these pictures
Mhm.
from the Superman stuff, which is what David Cornsweet. I find them pretty cool, pretty interesting,
Mhm.
but I do want to hear what Brandman's opinion of them are.
No problem.
So, Mom Bear said it will depend on who else is on the ship for me. What about you? What would scare you most about being out there like that?
The isolation, being miles away from home. At least there's a kind of figurative safety net. I know that getting home would be easy. I could get on the bus or get on the train or get an Uber and just be home or somewhere that I'm familiar with within a matter of minutes. You're out in space, you don't have that luxury. You're literally it takes in the middle of nowhere to a whole another level. There's probably no safety system. You run a high risk of something happening, the ship blasting open, you being blasted out into space. You're floating out there. You're literally floating out there, whether you're in a spacecraft or otherwise. The very you'd be completely helpless if something went wrong, I think.
No, that's 100% thing. So I'm watching a few things. I'm watching what's that show on Hulu right now? The Ark.
The Ark, yeah.
Yeah, the idea that if mankind need to leave Earth, and what would you do, and how scary space would be, because we have no idea about anything in space. You really don't know anything. That freaks me out, because I wake up in the morning, I know Earth, things could happen that are bad in Earth, but I know Earth. When you have no idea about your surroundings, you don't know anything that could happen. That's freaky. That's terrifying. But then also you have the idea that space is not just you don't know anything about it, but it is dangerous as hell. And as you said, there's no air around you, right? Something goes down, a window breaks, you're dead. There's no like, oh no, you literally suffocate. That's
exactly
awful. Oh man, that and then the idea of what if I'm on a ship with 5 people, right, and 4 of them die, and I'm the only one left. Oh man, like passengers. Oh, not me. I ain't the one. This is not me.
No, it couldn't be me at all up there.
So he said, if I got on the rocket ship going off to space, I would be screaming like Dooley Hill from Psych. Yeah, I would be like Dooley Hill too. Yeah. First of all, I love Psych. So bring the Dooley Hill is awesome.
Picture myself screaming like Thad Castle on Blue Mountain State, Alan Richson on Blue Mountain State.
Yeah.
Just that high pitched.
Mama Bear says, isolation doesn't bother me. It's other people. When I get along, I really don't get along. When I don't get along, I really don't get along. I totally understand that.
Yeah.
I'm overall a person who likes people to like me, and I'm an intimidating person, so I try to be overly nice. But if you cross a line, like I have imaginary lines drawn up, if you cross that line, I will choke slam the shit out of you through a table in a second. I go from good, happy to motherfuck you up and real quick, like in like 2.2 seconds. Like, oh, you crossed that line. So, space would be interesting, especially if it's only certain personalities. So, but I'm a Gemini, so that kind of makes sense.
Me, I'm pretty good at
You get
keeping a lid on it. Yeah, I get along with people. As you know, it takes a lot before I get like legitimately angry. And even if there's someone that I don't like, I'm pretty good on I'm pretty good at restraining myself, which is both good and bad, you know.
You can tell all my face. I can pretend like I'm good with you, but you'll know.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just give you a look. You'll know.
Mm-hmm.
Bear says also probably no pets allowed, which is a pass for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Yeah, but I'll be pissed if my dog pissed on us in a spaceship, and I had to smell the piss, and there's no air, no fresh air. I'll be pissed. That'd be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's a no go for me. Also, the food there would be a hard pass too. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's why, like, if I want space travel, I'm going Star Trek. You know, I want food. I want to be able to create eating food I want. They'll just be able to hit a button. They make a fresh made turkey for me. I need that type of food. A replicator, like on a different level. I need that. And it's funny because all this stuff scares me, but I still love space, sci-fi, everything. So that's just me. Yeah, Mama says I don't pretend. I don't pretend. God forgives. I don't. Once you pass, like I literally have a good about a leash. Once you pass that, that's when I have a problem. Yeah. If I'm going to be overly nice and you're going to cross me, then we have issues, and you better watch out.
Yep.
All right. Okay. So I'm looking for the new pictures. I don't see any new pictures.
I think the ones that I saw was from the wrapping of shooting yesterday when they were all decked out in snow gear.
See if you can pull them up. The only thing I saw was the Hollywood Reporter, and I don't see the pictures. I saw them, but I haven't seen them since. Says, James Gunn is sharing his appreciation for Superman collaborators as the full movie is wrapping filming. Filmmaker took to social media on Tuesday to share a set photo and message of the gratitude behind the DC feature and the reboots of the iconic character. Oh, yeah. Only thing I really see is just this thing. So I don't know if you guys see it.
Yeah, that's the last one I saw.
So this is all just James Gunn's it's a wrap photo. So he says, and that's a wrap. God bless our cast and crew whose commitment, creativity, and hard work have brought this project to life. I set out to make a movie about a good man in a world that isn't always so much. And the goodness and kindness and love I've encountered on a daily basis on this set has inspired me and thrust me forward when I felt too spent to move on my own. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It has been an honor. The destination has always been Superman, but the journey has been the toil and the laughter, and the emotions and the ideas and the magic we've shared together on set. And for that, I am forever grateful. And this is a picture from in Norway. So, are you glad that they've done filming this movie?
Yeah, because it gets us one step closer to footage for it, and hopefully a trailer, if not by the very end of this year, by Super Bowl. But I'm just looking forward to seeing more, and everything James Gunn has said about this movie has really instilled more and more faith, especially with him um, saying that it's going to be about kindness in a not so kind world. I think that is a basic fundamental of Superman. So I think he's already tackled like half the battle right there. I like that. Um, it kind of seems like he's really diving headfirst into what is already an established universe. We've seen set pictures of Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, Mister Terrific, who looks terrific, no pun intended. Um, the selection of actors, I think this comes from a real place of love, understanding, and passion for the character, and a lot more than Warner Brothers just nabbing him because he did Guardians of the Galaxy. I think he understands the assignment based on what he said. And that goes for a lot of what he said about DC, even the little video that he made a couple of days ago when they revealed the DC Studios logo, which I can't wait to see on screen. It seems like it's going to be, he's taking it back to the traditional and honoring what these characters should be about. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this all comes together, because I think without really knocking any of the previous stuff, because I do feel like for all my joking around, you know, it's different flavors and everyone likes different flavors. So, be it, Superman Returns didn't really land for me because I just felt like it didn't even do anything new other than just kind of emulate and continue the Christopher Reeve and Donner movies. Man of Steel wasn't quite my cup of tea, aside from the casting of Henry Cavill, who really fit the bill in terms of voice and build. It just didn't work for me as a whole. So I'm hoping this works for me in the ways that some of the previous stuff didn't. And I think it's time for a fresh traditional take on Superman. So yeah, I've been pretty excited and intrigued with every little bit of new information or new set pictures I see. They got a lot riding on this, so I'm really I hope James Gunn just blasts this clear out of the park.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you've seen any of our videos, Brandman is the one who's been more optimistic, and I've been more hesitant. Like, I'm hoping that it works out. I believe in James Gunn as a director. I think he does a great job with obscure titles and obscure characters. And Superman is anything but. Superman is the character. He is the superhero. There is, when you think of superhero, if you had an encyclopedia superhero, there'll be a picture of Superman there. That's who he is, So how does he take a storyline and really develop a less obscure character is yet to be seen. And though I think he understands the assignment, he understands what Superman is and who he is. So I think it's a good chance he does do well, but there's a chance that his style just does not mesh, and that it won't be what you think you really want from Superman, which would be a shame, because I think he is a wonderfully talented director.
Yeah.
I mean, but
his career has been interesting to follow, because he used to make like a lot of like hokey style trauma movies. Like he made Slither, which fun fact, that movie, it kind of made me unable to eat for a little bit. Or Super, which was just a crazy movie. and then Marvel entrusted him with Guardians of the Galaxy, who like the casual viewer was completely unfamiliar with, and then look at the franchise, and the following that grew from that. He did the Suicide Squad, which I really, really enjoyed. So this is easily like the biggest thing that he's taken on, because, like you said, because everyone knows Superman.
There's
and
no movie, a Superman movie that's not big. It is going to be the biggest. Period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how he how he takes on the definitive superhero, like you said. But
I worry about cameos, and I hope that the story is more about Superman than it is about everybody else, and how but that you only use them as a plot device. That's saying that look how bad the universe really is when even superheroes are doing this.
Yeah, and you're right. I hope it's very Superman centric, without banking too much on the character cameos, just to lay groundwork for the future, potential future universe. Just focus on the now with this. I think that's an easy trap to fall into when it comes to laying groundwork for a cinematic universe. If you're not focused on like the here and now. I think one example that comes to mind, aside from like superhero stuff, is when they were so sure they were going to get the Universal Monster Dark Universe off the ground, and the Mummy had all these hints towards the creature from the Black Lagoon and Dracula and all this other stuff, and they were so 100% certain that they were going to go from here and build a cinematic universe, and then it fell on its face. So I hope they I definitely hope they learned from that.
I definitely
don't repeat that mistake.
Yeah, I definitely understand it. Kenny makes a good point. He says, no matter what happens, people are going to complain, especially in DC.
Mm-hmm.
Not just that's just where we are in fandom right now. Because everyone has a platform. So now everyone can say any little thing and say these huge, unbelievably like just, off the wall things to make their own point. Yeah. So today people just want to play the hits, so to speak. They just want you to play the good ones. I get you. I understand exactly what you're saying. I definitely understand where Kenny's going with that. I don't know. I think that he has a very good point, and I think that people will complain, but I think they also know they can recognize when something's good.
Yep.
And not everyone's going to be on board, but most people will be on board.
Yep.
For instance, Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool and Wolverine by the end of this weekend will be at $800 million. By most accounts, though people complain about some things, by most accounts, it's good. It's a good movie. And that's what I want. I want at the end of the day, by most accounts, the people say it's a good movie. And if they do that, then DC has a real chance to grow and be a really, really badass company again. But if it doesn't, it might have a problem. It might be. It could also be. It could be the death nail if it's not good.
Yep.
So.
I hope he really knocks it out of the park. Like I said, I've really liked everything I've seen from this, and I like that. He plans to, and the MCU has done something similar in terms of expanding the universe beyond just the big screen, but the little screen too, with shows, animated series. I know he said he even wants to extend it into video games. So I appreciate his ambition. And I did like the trailer for Creature Commandos. I thought that was pretty cool.
that will be the next thing we talk about because I have it already queued up. But yeah, since we're talking about this Superman suit, I want to know what you guys think. Are you checking out the Superman? Do you think the suit looks good? Do you think the movie looks good? Are you happy that James Gunn is directing this? Do you think that people are going to be happy with the stuff that they get from it? Let us know. Jump in the comments. Tell me what you're thinking. We love reading all those things and love commenting back. So please give us comments and like and subscribe the video. And we will be on to the next thing soon. So thanks for watching this. And we're about to watch Creature Commandos. So that'll be the next video. I'll put it somewhere above Brandman's head. And we'll see you guys again soon.
See you
Thanks.
guys.
Cool. Okay, so Creature Commandos looks fun. I like that James Gunn is casting the actors who will be playing the characters in live action as the voice. It's smart. It's like
Me too.
Trying to make it all make sense. That's why I love it.
Yep.
So have you guys seen the Creature Commandos trailer yet? We're kind of going to do it. Oh, I see. I hope everyone is now done wanting to see this, see the short Wolverine.
What are you talking about? No, I'm not.
You
I want my short king
Wolverine.
Wolverine.
5'2" Wolverine and didn't look good.
You know, it looked like they made him shorter than 5'3", however tall Wolverine is, however short Wolverine is supposed to be for comedic effect. Looked more like he was like 4'10". But yeah, give me my short king Wolverine. He's supposed to be like an actual Wolverine, a small little unpredictable ball of violent fury who's underestimated by his opponents. Yeah, by his adversaries. So yeah, give me short king Wolverine. I think it would be a bold move.
Mama says I kind of like it. I appreciate a short buff king.
Well, I mean,
look, I mean that's awesome. I haven't been short since the 5th grade when I grew 8 inches. So yeah, it is what it is. Are you going in blind? So I have not watched the official teaser trailer yet for this Creature Commando, so I'm excited to see this with you guys. I will be the first one seeing it. I'm hoping watching it with you guys will make it better. Wow, I'm scared now. It's definitely in the 4 feet range. So what is White Suit Wolverine?
Patch.
Yeah. He's also in the comic books. So almost all those variants were comic book Wolverines.
Oh man, I really, especially rewatching that montage, I would have been cool with it if rather than the yellow and blue suit, we got that brown and yellow suit. That thing looked gorgeous. Dare I say, I almost liked it a little more than the blue and yellow one. That brown and yellow one looks spot on.
Dude, all I know is Henry Cavill might have been the best Wolverine in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that disappointed me about that movie is not hearing. That's all I want. If I get that, I would have been head over heels in love with the movie. Now I'm only slightly head right on heels over the love the movie. My brother says, I appreciate the tall ones too. All right. That's what I'm talking about. The one I'm really curious about was the long hair leather S&M Wolverine.
From Age of Apocalypse?
Yeah, Age of Apocalypse Wolverine.
The
Wolverine montage reminded me how much X-Men I haven't read. Dude, where's my phone? I'll go through my comic books, right? So I go through my CLZ app, which is still, I have 2 piles of comic books that I have not put in there yet. Just because I like to read everything. And I have 197 X-Men comics. Well, Uncanny X-Men comics. I have 197. I basically have most of the 101 through 200. I have most of those. Well, I'm pretty actually consistent through from 101 to 332. And still there's so many that I haven't had a chance to really read. And I love X-Men. I really, really do. It's just so hard to, catch up on all of it because it's Uncanny X-Men, it's the regular X-Men, it's X-Force. There's so much stuff on X-Men. So, there really isn't a lot of footage to work with. So I guess that's understandable, Mama Bear. But overall, it's a solid teaser. Okay. I'll see that in a second. So that brown and yellow was way better than the yellow and blue.
I agree. See, me, like, I've always preferred the much as I love the yellow and blue. This is not a knock against the yellow and blue suit, but I've always loved the brown and yellow. I've always absolutely loved it. Man, I would have loved to have seen like that one be the main one that he stuck with. Again, not complaining, but I liked the simplicity of the yellow of the brown and yellow one. Right out of the comics, they made some tweaks to the yellow and blue one. I thought it worked. I thought it worked absolutely fine.
It was weird going from having the sleeves to not having the sleeves without him ripping off the things. So that was kind of weird. But I loved when he put the whole thing on. He was like, "Let's go." That was an awesome scene for me.
Yeah, it only took him 24 years.
Yeah.
for Hugh Jackman's been playing the role so long. At this point, it's his birthright.
Yep, agreed. Kenny says Deadpool Wolverine was a lot of fun, but I had a lot of issues with it. It's been a very mixed feeling all week. You know what's not a mixed feeling? How much money he's making. That's not a mixed feeling.
At all, right?
Yeah, it is unbelievable how much money it is still making on regular days. So I thought that was pretty cool. Oh,
yeah.
Dark Room is in here. He said, "What's up, fellas?"
Hey, Dark Room, what's going on?
And he gives a super sticker. Appreciate you. So
Thank
I was
you.
at Dark Room. Hit 400 subscribers. So I was actually checking them out earlier today. So I was looking. I mean, right before I went on with Chill, I was actually looking at Dark Room's review. So definitely go check them out, guys. I'm always, I like watching all you guys stuff. So as much as I can get on there, I just do. Oh, we got Debbie says, "I thought this was a DC segment. What's going on? Bringing in all this stuff. Stop bringing up X-Men." So that was Charge's sister and the Juggernaut, who's Charles' brother. Yeah. That's basically it. Yeah.
Sure is. Yep.
She's Charles's twin sister.
Why are her fingers that long? That's so creepy.
All right. Was Wolverine cowl there the whole time, or did it just suddenly appear in the back? It seemed like it just kind of assumed there.
Yeah, like sometimes in the comics and cartoon, he wore it like a hood.
Yeah, but it wasn't there before.
But we don't see it back there, right? Stuff behind stuff under his collar, I guess.
Brandon says, "To me, the mask looked silly, but the rest of the costume was real dope."
Understandable. I was happy to see Jackman wear it. There's been this stigma that it, like you said, that it would look silly in live action, but we're in an age now where comic accuracy is the norm. 24 years ago, probably before, even though Spider-Man was taking baby steps and did have a spot on costume, even during that time, a lot of it was kind of unheard of. So we had to kind of take those baby steps. I think like the first ones to like really, really do it post, with the exception of Batman, was Spider-Man. I don't think the Affleck Daredevil one looked too silly. I thought that
No, I
that
thought that was
worked
actually
for,
pretty good.
yeah, but they took baby steps before the MCU really, really made it a thing. But I thought it looked good.
I think
You know,
it looked really good. Kenny said,
yeah.
"Yeah, I'm glad it's doing well. I'm glad the box office has been resurrected. People are actually going to see the movies. I mean, it's at 590 million now. It's going to be at 800 million by the end of this week, by Monday morning. Hey, can I join a live stream one of these days? Hey, we're going to do that. Dark Rooms. We're going to probably do not this Monday, but next Monday. I want to do another panel type of thing. So I'll come up with a good topic, and we'll definitely have you in and have fun doing it." Kenny says, "Have y'all watched any of the Cape Crusader yet? Only watched episode 1, and I'm mixed on it, but I'm gonna finish."
Yeah, I watched about half of the first episode and liked it so far. I want to give it my undivided attention, and I think I was kind of multitasking at the time, so I'm like, let me turn this off and put it back on later when I can give it my full attention.
I was also watching it and decided to wait, and because I thought I was getting bored, and I thought I was getting bored because I really wasn't paying attention. So I was like, okay, let me stop now and then come back to it. All right. I see everyone, all the comments in there, but I want to bring up this trailer. So let's go ahead and get everything started. I'll do the transition and we can watch Creature Commandos official teaser trailer. All right. Ready?
All right. Yep. I'm ready when you are.
Let's do this. And welcome back to the Spoiler Kings. I'm Brian the Grizzly here with Brandman Brandon, and we're going to take a sneak peek at the Creature Commandos official teaser. How you feel about it?
Right up James Gunn's alley. Obscure characters and animated DC. I'm always
talking about. That's exactly what we were talking about in the last segment. Right up James Gunn's. This is his in his wheelhouse. We have no idea what the hell they're talking about. No idea what they're doing. It should be good, right? I guess we will check it out together and then we'll discuss.
The cast, huh?
That's a lot. Steve Agee, Maria Bakovla, Anaya Shalatra, Zoe Chow, yeah, Frank Grillo, Sean Gunn, of course, Sean Gunn, David Harbour, Alan Tudyk, Indira Varma, and Viola Davis. That is a lot.
Yeah, I like it. I've always been a fan of Frank Grillo. I've always liked him. I think he's absolutely badass. And technically, the beginning of James Gunn's DC universe, from a technical standpoint. But yeah, this fits his pedigree. His MO, the obscure kind of misfit characters. So I think this is it looks fun.
Okay.
It looks like the right amount of zany and out there, and working an angle that's enough to kind of hook you in.
It just seemed very Suicide Squadish to me.
Very Suicide Squad.
Like
very much so.
Like there's scenes where I'm looking at them like that's straight out Suicide Squad. So that was kind of weird. That it was that shot for shot. I didn't know that was the direction it was going to go. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what I think about it because I mean, Creature Commandos are before Suicide Squad, right? But Amanda Waller looks exactly the same, so I'm not
They
exactly
were.
sure how this all works out. Um, so I don't know. I like that they use the same people that are actually going to play people in live action. They're using them in all the animated series. And the truth is, DC is the best at animated stuff. They just are. I just don't know
Yep.
if I'm going to care about these characters as much.
Yeah. I guess we're that's going to be the big sell with it. You know, but I'm open to it. I like the prospect of connecting with obscure characters. Heck, I've never read any Creature Commandos. uh, so yeah, if but if anyone can make that work, it's James Gunn.
Mm.
You know, I'm not going to pretend like I read a whole ton of Guardians of the Galaxy before the movie came out. I was familiar with them
I used to watch
yeah.
right past it. Well, next section.
Yeah, I was familiar enough with them, but it wasn't anything that I ran out of my way to pick up whenever I walked in the comic shop. So, but I like that idea. I like that this could potentially, depending on the quality, spark enough interest to where maybe I'll want to pick up a copy of Creature Commandos or go looking for it or go and do my own like deep dive. So that's what I started doing for stuff like Guardians. So yeah, I trust Gunn in this regard. So I'm really rooting for the guy. This is there's a lot riding on this too. Not as much as Superman, but it's the beginning of this universe, so still a pretty good amount riding on it.
Yeah, I'm less worried about this than I am worried about everything else. Because this is what he does. He does obscure characters. DC does a great job with animated stuff. It should be good. From everything we've known from it, it should be good. So I'm hoping that's what we turn to actually get. Something that's really, really well thought out, very accurate, and very entertaining. So I'm hoping. But that was Creature Commandos. I'm really hoping that this becomes fun. When does this come out again?
Very end of the year in December.
I believe they released the dates. Yeah, but so December we will have it on HBO Max. But I'm hoping it's good. As I said, I felt it was very Guardians of the Galaxy-ish, but it should be. Hit or miss. This will be the beginning of the DC really universe, and all we can do is hope. But let's see what the chat is saying about this. There we go. Start with this. Yeah, Mama Bear saying it seems like League of the Extraordinary Gentlemen meets Suicide Squad B.
Huh, I like that. It's probably the most apt comparison I can think of.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a really good one. She says, "Nope, still don't like it." Derby says, "Is that because it's DC, Mama Bear?" And then Kenny asks, "So Frank Grillo replaces Joel Kinnaman as Rick Flag? That's interesting."
He's Rick Flag Senior.
Yeah, he's his dad. How old is Amanda Waller then? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Is Amanda Waller like 150 years old? Like,
so, well, yeah, because we don't know when this takes place. Presumably, it's after the events of the suicide, or it might even be before, because we see Weasel still locked up.
Yeah, exactly. It has to be before.
You know, last time we saw him, he ran off into the woods. So yeah, this has to be before.
So, and Amanda Waller was still old, so whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Says, no, I'm a DC fan. Proudly bicomical, particularly with the animated projects. I like that, bicomical. And he will appear Superman in Peacemaker Season 2. Okay.
Yeah.
So Frank Grillo will be in it. Okay. Never heard of this, but I'll watch it because I like cartoons.
Respect.
Derby says nobody cared about Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't see a problem with this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All boils down to the execution.
Agreed.
You make a good movie you'll get people invested, or a good product. So
agreed.
I'm really excited at the prospect of I like that James Gunn seems to be going for a nice blend of like the well-known characters that we're familiar with and the more obscure characters. Like you've said many times, Brian, DC has almost, dare I say, superior content.
They have the greatest
to Marvel.
Their holy trinity is that no one can hold a candle to their holy trinity. No one.
Yeah, there's no reason in the world a DC universe, can give the lesser known characters shine time just as much as the holy trinity, like you said. So I'm looking forward to see. I'm really excited by the idea of general audiences learning that, just how deep this rabbit hole goes beyond Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, the characters that, that pretty much everyone's familiar with. So there's a lot more to DC, and it's deserving of a long lasting cinematic universe, just like Marvel. So
if not more,
if not more.
Yeah. And Brandon said, deep is right. No one cared about Guardians until Star-Lord put on the mask.
Mm-hmm.
I'm familiar with some of these characters from classic literature and movies. Not a fan of the locker room humor that he's peeing. Just no.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand that. I understand. Yeah, if Creature Commandos is a hit, I think people will be more excited for what's to come with DC movies. And if it's not a hit, people will just be like, it's a cartoon. To go to the start of the video, there is a logo. I did see the logo.
Yeah.
That is the DC movies logo. So yeah, gotcha. That's very interesting. So that was our Creature Commandos official teaser trailer. Please hope you guys check this out. If you're looking at this afterwards, please comment on what you think about it. Do you like it, or are you like Mama Bear and saying I'm not sure about it? Are you excited for December, or is this going to be on the I'll watch it if I have the time list? Like, subscribe, and then comment on this video. Let us know what you guys think about Creature Commandos, and we'll see what everyone comes up with. And I know for one thing, I'm going to be watching it in December, regardless, because DC makes great animated content. So I cannot wait to see what we get from it. So, all right, that is what we got. I'm going to move on to our next topic. So, thank you, and hopefully we'll see you at the next live show. Thanks, guys. That's that.
I'm still doing these time marks each time we do, and each time we jump to a new one.
That's going to help a whole lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Creature Commandos looks cool.
Kevin comes in. What's up, Kevin? Warner Brothers will have moderate success with Joker Foley and will reach new height of the first film. It will reach the new heights of the first film at the box office. No, It will not make $1 billion. I promise you that.
No, I don't think it'll.
An R-rated musical? No. Let's see. Go to Discord. I see 2 things in DC chat. That's about the DC new logo. I can't open another window though. I might have to pull it up and bring that in on Monday's show. Mamba said, "I'll give it a shot," but no one was. I'm nowhere as optimistic about it as Brandon. Yeah, you're pretty optimistic about it.
I know.
I can't see Joker 2 making $1 billion because it's not going to be. You're right. I'm halfway through reading Avengers versus X-Men event. It's going to take a lot of work to make this work for a movie. I don't think it will. I don't think they will adapt it. I think that's something that they've turned down multiple times because there's so many things, so many moving parts that it's going to take forever to kind of create.
Yeah, I'm asking myself if an Avengers versus X-Men movie would happen, or if it would anytime soon.
It'll be a waste until you really introduce your X-Men.
Exactly.
Like if the first time I see Scott Summers or Storm is Avengers versus X-Men, I think that's a waste.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you actually said that. You and Tank both said that about the last thing. So I agree. with it. Kevin says Trap domestic box office debut will be $15 to $20 million, which means Deadpool will still outdo it. I really want to teach you guys how to say fully Ode. Is it Odo? I thought it was De like 2. Maybe I didn't.
Yeah, maybe I had it wrong.
Like, is this under 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10? Maybe I didn't know. Because Deaux is dough. So I don't know. Okay. I don't believe $1 billion lightning will strike twice with Joker 2, even if the movie is great.
Mm-hmm.
So why did they choose Elektra? And Kenny says, probably because Ben Affleck said no. That's the only thing I could think of. Yeah, Elektra is not the greatest character, but then they also made fun of Ben Affleck, so I thought that was cool.
Mm-hmm. I think they were just kind of going for the unexpected. Obscure cameos. Heck, I didn't go in expecting to see Blade there, nor did I expect Channing Tatum finally getting his chance to play Gambit, which I think fit the most. But yeah,
there's a lot of people that are hating on that. A lot.
It's the Cajun accent, right?
Yeah. Well, it's also the costume. The costume just didn't seem like it could have been better. It was like a costume shop costume instead of one of the greatest. Marvel is one of the greatest places to find costumes and makes everything look good and make it look fit, and it didn't.
I think it was a lose any way you sliced it, because the Gambit suit kind of always did look or kind of come off as weird and a little too much, but it fits with the character. Remy LeBeau has always been extra, so I thought it worked. Heck, I would have been cool with them giving him the black eyes with the red pupils. I was hoping for that. Them go rather than his eyes just glowing slightly red whenever he used his kinetic powers. But I was fine with the costume.
Okay.
The worst I could say is the neck thing looked like it was mad uncomfortable.
This looked weird, and this looked weird. And they could have done a better job, I think, with creating something that looked just like it, but that fit better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought it was fine. I think it was like it probably had like a Batman '89 effect where Channing Tatum had trouble like turning his head, but had to turn his entire body.
Remember, the Batman and Joker and Penguin are not canon in DCU. It's Elseworld, so if it doesn't make money, I'm okay with it because Superman is the big one. It has nothing to do with Superman at all. That's not part of the DC. I was actually talking about that with Back of the Bus on Chill's stream. Like, I think James Gunn's thing is totally different. You can't dictate what everything else is part of DC is going to actually do, but I think we will see it still do okay. $500 million. Mama Bear said, "Don't underestimate Gaga's monsters. They'll show up for her." That's why I think it makes $500-600 million. The Deadpool and Wolverine domestic box office total run prediction is $500-600 million domestically. Which means if that's usually it's about 48% of big movies, which means that we're talking about $1.2 to $1.3 billion. It's crazy. What's the new DC cartoon where Penguin is a woman? Have you seen that?
Yes, Batman Cape Crusader, the one that started on Prime Video just today.
Yep, came out today, August 1st.
Like I said, man, I watched like the first half of it. It worked for me. Did you watch any of it, Brian? No?
I have not. I am planning on watching it tomorrow.
You know, the animation reminds me of probably one of my favorite DC animated movies, Justice League No Frontier. Kind of expands on that.
Okay.
I like the Batman, the actor doing the Batman voice, Hamish Linklater. He really makes it his own.
Batman? That's what's very weird to me.
It depends on what you picture Batman to sound like. I guess. Obviously we think of Kevin Conroy. Dare I say, the guy who voiced a lot of Batman in DC animated. Sometimes I even think of Jason O'Mara, who voiced him in a lot of the DC animated stuff. But he really he formulates his own thing. There are kind of very faint traces of Conroy in there, I think. I think there's even maybe like a little bit of Jason O'Mara in there. I'd even say maybe like a little bit of Reno Romano, who voiced him on the Batman. But he really makes it his own. He kind of honors the past, but he gives it his own flavor. It really works. And the fact that the show is like very retro style and like has like a 40s vibe to it, I think you got to bring a fresh take to it in that regard anyway. So a lot of the voice acting and the animation all around the table so far really works. And they got some interesting names voicing the animated characters. This female Penguin is voiced by Minnie Driver.
And Minnie Driver, that's why I saw that. I was like, oh man, okay. Welcome back to 1995.
Right. But yeah, so far I liked it. Like I said, I was kind of multitasking throughout the day, so I wanted to
give you
give my undivided attention.
Gotcha. Kevin says Eddie and Romulus domestic box office debut prediction is $30 to $50 million.
I think that's fair.
Opening, for the opening week, I think that's pretty good. That's the Amazon One Cape Crusader, but I don't think it's canon either. Okay.
No, definitely in its own little universe.
Electra, Blade, and Gambit are characters that don't fit in their current films or TV shows. Blade, I love Blade. And actually, I've been, of course, reading what they've been doing in comic book, The Blood Hunt, going across all these comic books. I got like 50 of them. I'm finishing up the third one on all these Blood Hunt ones. But then I have to kind of go through the next one. So I have that in this pile. And of course, I gotta read Ultimate Spider-Man, and I gotta send Tank. I'm going to send him tonight or tomorrow. So this cover, because he's missed a couple of them. What if Donald Duck becomes Wolverine? So I'm going to make sure I send that to him tomorrow.
Like I said, I'm hibernating and going off into exile over the next couple of days, and then once everything goes back to normal, then I will go to the comic shop, or go to one out in the south suburbs. I am, in the event that I did stay here over the weekend, I'm like barricading myself in the house.
That's because it's going to be crazy outside.
Yeah.
So you do say "duh" correctly. Yeah. I just don't know what we're supposed to say this movie. So it's under the DC Studios animators like Elseworld. Okay. Electric is Daredevil's romantic opposite. To my knowledge, they didn't introduce her in the show. Yeah, but since her and Ben Affleck were married, it kind of works. They talked about that in the movie. All right, my question is: if Deadpool tried to join the Avengers in the 616, where did the 10005 come from? I thought that was dead. I thought our dead was 616. That was part that confused me. So Deadpool was part of the Fox universe. That was the 10005 universe. So that's what Deadpool is part of that universe. That's his Fox universe. So he saved the Fox universe, and he's able to travel to the 616 through the pads, and his thing he had from Cable. Says, I like Jensen voicing Batman. I did too. Jensen Ackles, I thought he was great.
I like him too. This is not to take away from anything from him as Batman, because I do like him as Batman. He almost left a little more of an impression for me personally when he voiced Red Hood that one time.
Yeah, I got you.
That's not to take anything from him at all, because I do like him as Batman. But I thought he kind of landed a little more for me when he voiced Jason Todd.
I think it's only because you want to hit Kevin Conroy when you see that.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, heck, man, like Bruce Greenwood, I think he was kind of underrated as Batman. I liked him as that older, kind of middle-aged Batman. I thought he suited him. But then I might be a little biased because I absolutely adore Under the Red Hood.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Soldier Boy was cool as Batman. He should have way more work. Just now, Ackles had so much work as Dean Winchester from Supernatural, so that's kind of the thing. And then he's doing other stuff, and he's a good writer too. But yeah, he's gonna be with the boys for the next couple months, trying to figure that out. See, I like him better than Homelander. See, I don't think any animated anything is canon. Kenny, you're right when it comes to the big screen. How hot is it where you guys were? It was 92 today. For me, we rained. So I don't think it got above 88.
It was about that, and actually looking out the window, it's still raining, and getting a little thunder over here too. So yeah, about 88.
So I wasn't shocked or surprised that the Marvel Studios just focused on Captain America 4, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four at San Diego Comic-Con / Robert Downey Jr. as Doom.
I still feel
I knew I could see it. I see you look. It hurt you a little bit. I said it. It's like stab a little bit, just a little stab.
Yeah, I was trying to be a good sport about it the other day when we talked about it, but I'm legitimately conflicted about it. I've been flippy floppy about that throughout the week kind of the more conversations that I have with people. I don't know. At first I hated it, and then I tried to be a good sport about it, and now I'm like very mixed on it. I'm just very
I understand. That's what I say.
yeah. It just, I don't know. It just kind of feels like Marvel and Feige knew that their quality's been all over the place, and it just kind of seems like it could be like a bit of a desperate Hail Mary that they're throwing. I hope I'm wrong.
I think it has more to do with Jonathan Majors and then Cillian Murphy turning them down.
That too. And you know, like I said, they're easily going to use the multiverse excuse, but it just seems like a bit of a lazy and desperate move. I hope I'm wrong.
I don't think that's what I think. They planned this out, and I don't think it's lazy or desperate. I just don't think. I think they should have kept with Jonathan Majors, because if you bring in Ben, if you're going to do him, of all people, you say, well, he has a felony drug possession thing, so. Robert Downey Jr. is not necessarily the clean cut guy. Whatever.
Yeah, he just surrounded himself with the right people when he rebounded, and you know, and this is not to take away anything from Robert Downey Jr. because I absolutely love the guy. And I'm sure he'll do great in the role because he's that good an actor. But you know, I was just hoping for some new blood. It just, I don't know.
You need a strong actor, and they couldn't find it. So.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just very, very conflicted about it.
All right, let's get through all the rest of these comments. Let's say I feel like Red Hood allowed him to do more with his voice. A lot of yelling, emotional moments, etc. That's probably why you liked him so much more.
Yeah, actually made me kind of warm up to the character because typically I can't stand Jason Todd.
I mean, who can? To be honest. Yeah. HBO House of the Dragon and Prime Video will get Emmy nominations. 100%. 100%. Mama Bear said it got to 38 degrees Celsius. Y'all can do the math. It's about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. You take the 38 times by 9.5, and then you add. It's about 100 degrees. Kenny, I don't stay far from Branson. Yes, it was raining now. It hit about 90. Okay. Send the rain this way, please. Kenny says, my question is if the last 2025 MCU movies is in November and Avengers 5 is in May of 2026, what do you think will be in between that? It'll be all the TV shows that they're going to announce in the D23.
Yep. Yeah. TV shows all the way.
So get the Celsius stuff out here. So me as an engineer, when I was doing all my homework and all that stuff, when you're dealing with those, you always are in Celsius or Kelvin because Celsius is actually easier to convert to Kelvin. So I would be in Celsius most of the time. I'll do things by meters per second too, or sometimes it can convert to kilometers, but you never use miles and you never use inches and you never use any of that other stuff. You never Fahrenheit. You just never use. We're the ass backwards one. Just tell you, we are. Red, white, and blue miles, feet, and inches over here. We're the ass backwards people, man. I don't speak American temperatures. The rest of the world does Celsius. Adapt, dang it. That's because we believe we run everything. And he says, I don't think it's lazy or desperate. I do think that they have a plan. I just would have liked to see Kang's story to continue, even though it wasn't great outside of Loki. I think they could have done it together. They could have done Kang and I said this before, Kang and Doom. Because if you're going to get Battle World Earth, the only way you do that is with Doom. So I think they could have done it. They could have been on different sides.
Their plan was, we know we haven't been the same since Endgame, but look, we got your favorite actor back.
D23 Expo predictions, trailers, Daredevil Born Again, Disney Tiana, yeah, Pixar Win or Lose, possible cast for Ironheart and Wonder Man. I hate fucking Wonder Man, but yeah, that's
Yeah,
probably
I'm in that same boat. Like, who cares about Wonder Man?
no one should. I don't believe there's no strong black actors outside of majors who could have played the role. I feel like the short changes all the potential black actors out there. Um, that short changes all the potential black actors out there. I believe there's a lot of black actors that could have done it. I believe that a lot of black actors wouldn't do it because they don't agree with what happened with Jonathan Majors. So you don't want to step on anyone's toes, especially when you're saying, I don't like what they did with him. You know, for misdemeanor, you should stand behind him, especially for, as we all saw the trial. So I think they should have stood behind him and give him the same thing that they gave Ezra Miller in DC. So the Imperial system is crazy. I was kind of surprised they used all the Void so much in Deadpool, but I do like that they reference Loki. But that's why you do the Void.
Yeah,
I care about the Wonder Man. I love Yaya. I wanted him to be a different character.
he would have been a pretty badass John Stewart, I thought personally.
You know, I think
He's got the look.
I think Jonathan Majors could be a pretty badass Jonathan Stewart.
Yeah, you know, I like Yaya. I think he's an underrated actor. I think he has that real, like, kind of no nonsense type, you know, don't mess with me type look that I kind of associate with John Stewart. But yeah, Wonder Man, I don't know. It's not. It seems like one of the ones that they're just kind of cranking out just for the sake of cranking out.
Yep, I think
And
if they had a chance to go back, they wouldn't use it.
yeah, because they were far too invested, and that's when Marvel was, you know, just kind of, you know, shitting things out sideways, basically. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah. You see the TMZ video I put on Facebook with Jonathan Majors talking about Kang. So yeah, so Chill did a big thing on it, so I watched it with him, and yeah, I've known Dre Mack has been really big on the Jonathan Majors thing too. So I've been talking to both of them, and they've been in contact. Actually, Dre's been in contact with Jonathan Majors about a lot of this stuff, and he is really hurt about it. But he said he'll love to come back to the role. So that leaves the door open for a lot of stuff.
I think it sucks that this whole thing happened.
But as long as he's back for Battle World, you could say that he was in that freaking little jewel. He was trapped in there, and then you bring him back for Battle World. I think that would be a good way to do it.
Sure.
Kevin says this was looking at the business perspective and image when it came down to Jonathan Majors, but they didn't do the same thing for when they cast Iron Man. I'm just saying, Jonathan Majors. I know what it is, but that's not always fair. And New York, you know what New York does with black people, black men, and that's one thing. But I mean, you have other guys who were charged with felonies recently, and you know, it is what it is. You know, I like Trevante Rhodes for Jonathan Stewart. I like Trevante Rhodes.
Me too.
Good for Jonathan Stewart. A little skinny, a little small, yeah, but he's more of a military guy, but skinnier. I like that.
Yeah, and he's a really underrated actor. You know, if he bulked up back to his like the Predator or his Bird Box day, like he was built like a house in Bird Box. You know, if he got back to that, absolutely.
I'd be happy with that too. Or Amari Hardwick, I agree with that too. Maybe after they get done with Doom thing, they bring him back. It'll be enough time that has passed. That's why I think Avengers 6 does bring him back.
Kind of curious to see.
Herman, Robert Downey Jr. all made comebacks. I think he's not just going to make a comeback. He's making comebacks in other movies. And if you go to 2027, that's going to allow you to have almost 3 years before, you know, you got to even face him and he's not the main bad. I think it could work, personally. All right, guys, it's past midnight. Me and Brandman need to get some sleep. So I
Sure do.
appreciate everyone who's been in the comments. You guys helped us carry the show tonight, especially while we have Tank going. You guys really were needed, and I really appreciate you 100%. I want to leave off with what Kenny has on the last comment that we're going to read. He says, I think the difference between Robert Downey Jr. and Majors, besides the obvious, is the timing. Robert Downey Jr.'s stuff was years before he signed on as Iron Man. Jonathan Majors' thing feels like it happened yesterday. I don't know if it feels like it happened yesterday, but I think that the racial aspect of it is always hard, something you want to distance yourself away from. That's what Disney, as the business model, Disney wants to distance its self from this racial idea. And I think that's what they're trying to do and push him away. Because I think they've stayed behind other people who've had a few things, you know. But I think if you push them back to Avengers 6, now there's 4 or almost 5 years between what happened and then before it's released. I think you have a little bit more time for the healing. People to forget. But not saying it's right. That's just what it is. I feel you. I definitely do. Have a great night, y'all. That's Kenny going out.
Good night,
Love
Kenny.
y'all. Love you too, B.
Good night, Brandon. Love you too, man.
Good night, Mama Bear. I see you guys. And she's right. It's still too fresh. All right. I understand where you guys are coming from. I appreciate you guys. And I appreciate all the members. You guys have been amazing for us. And count on you guys for everything. So you guys are everything. So really appreciate you guys. And I'm going to do a closing with you guys. And yeah. Thanks guys for watching the show. Brandman, you got anything else for us tonight?
Be excellent to each other and party on, dudes.
No braver or smarter words were ever echoed. To be excellent to each other, party on. All right, guys. Catch you later.
See you guys.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. We out here.